Hey, welcome back to Tokusatsu 101, your crash course on rubber-suited men fighting rubber-suited monsters. So I've been doing this Tokusatsu 101 thing for about 5 years, not that you'd be able to tell given the amount of videos that I've put out. Back in 2019, I put out a video going over the various official legal methods that one could use to watch this insane genre, and in the time since that original video, there have been a lot of changes in that specific avenue, and some of the ones that I covered back then don't exist anymore. There are new ones, some of them have changed around a little bit in general. Add that to the fact that the original video links to a video that doesn't exist anymore. I think it's a good time to finally update that thing. As a heads up, I'm a dumb American, so I'm mostly focusing on methods that are available here in North America, so your mileage may vary depending on where else in the world you're located. I do know there are other options available in different countries, but I can only reliably go over what I'm most familiar with. That's gonna be stuff that's available here in the States. Maybe in the future I'll cover watch methods for other territories to get some more general coverage out there, but that one's gonna require me to do some learning myself. So with that said, here are some official ways that yes, you can watch Tokusatsu. Not you, though. First, some quick updates on what I covered in the old video. Previously, I suggested Toku HD as an option since they had picked up a few Ultraman shows and had some other lesser-known properties. Even back then, I was aware that their subs could be shaky, but to my knowledge, they weren't too bad. Yeah, I can't really recommend them anymore. For one, they've lost all of their Ultraman, and for two, they have really gone down the drain. They picked up Kamen Rider Agito and Faiz, and both of those releases were absolute disasters. There's mistranslations, typos, plain old fucked up sentences. It's really a total mess. So yeah, in 2024, I cannot in good conscience suggest Toku HD as an option whatsoever. I also brought up Generation Kikaida in that old video as they were selling DVD sets of shows like Kamen Rider V3 and Android Kikaider. Unfortunately, since that video, their online shop has closed down, so you can't buy those from them anymore. As far as I can tell, the physical shop they have in Honolulu still seems to exist, but I doubt the DVDs are still sold there since it seems like there was also a licensing change. And there's more evidence for that later down the line. I also very briefly touched on the Garo Blu-rays released by Kraken back in the old video, and as far as I can tell, they are no longer doing those. A couple of them are still on Amazon, but I don't think they'll be there much longer. So you're pretty much screwed for Garo stateside, unfortunately. There is an official Garo YouTube channel, but most of the content on there doesn't have English subtitles, and the stuff that does is iffy to suggest, given that they've been caught using machine translations. And to round off this section, Kamen Rider Amazons is no longer available on Amazon Prime in the US for some reason, so that's another thing that just can't be watched officially anymore. There are some updates to some of the other stuff I talked about in the old video, but those will naturally come up as I talk about the new stuff. So let's get into that, shall we? Just the same as before, one of the easiest Toku franchises to watch in the US is Super Sentai. Shout Factory has been releasing DVD sets of Sentai shows for years now, and they've built up a pretty solid catalog. Notably, every series that was adapted into Power Rangers, from Zyuranger, which became Mighty Morphin, to Deca Ranger, which became SPD, has a DVD release, alongside Chikyu Sentai 5-Man and Chojin Sentai Jetman, which are both pre-Power Rangers shows. These releases have slowed down a good bit in recent years, and at the time I make this video, it's been over a year since their last one, that being the Deca Ranger DVD. Time will tell if we get any more, but for now there is a pretty solid amount, and they're easily accessible. You can buy them on Amazon and stream them on Tubi, though for whatever reason, Aba Ranger, Deca Ranger, and 5-Man are not available for streaming. One of the biggest changes since the original video has been the availability of Kamen Rider in the States. Back then, it was basically just Kamen Rider Amazons being on Prime Video, and the aforementioned Generation Kikaida V3 DVDs. But since then, Shout has thrown their hat in this ring as well, bringing over several Kamen Rider shows in the last couple of years. Kamen Rider Kuga, Ryuki, 01, and Geats have all gotten Blu-ray releases, and you can grab them on Amazon and Shout Factory's website, or stream them on Tubi. And though it didn't get a physical release, they also brought over the very first Kamen Rider series, and you can stream that on Tubi as well. I promise this is not sponsored. They've also got Kamen Rider 01's movie, Real Time, and Heisei Generations Forever, so you get a pretty varied selection. But that's not even all for Kamen Rider, because Discotek Media has gotten involved and released Blu-rays of Kamen Rider Black and Black RX, and they have a Blu-ray of Kamen Rider V3 on the way, which probably has something to do with Kikaida not selling theirs anymore. So you can get more Showa/really early Heisei Rider in your life. And somehow I damn near forgot that you can also watch Kamen Rider Black Sun, a modern take on Kamen Rider Black, on Amazon Prime. Metal Heroes is still kind of on the less represented end of things, as it usually is, but it has at least seen a few more releases in the last 5 years. All of them from Discotek, as far as I'm aware. Unfortunately, their Just Beyond release, which I mentioned back in the old video, is out of print and gone from Crunchyroll, so it seems like they've lost the license to that one. But they have put out Blu-rays for Space Sheriff Gavan and Charivan alongside Mobile Cop Chiban. In addition, just a few weeks ago, at the time I write this script, they announced that Space Sheriff Scheider would be releasing in September of 2024, which should be the month this video actually comes out, alongside Rescue Police Winspector, which doesn't have a release date set at the moment. Discotek seems content to be the Metal Heroes title holder here in the States, and I very much hope that continues. Moving on, as ever, Ultraman is far and away the easiest franchise to access here, with Mill Creek still marching strong with their efforts in importing the series. And they've continued to do a damn fine job of it. Unless I missed something somewhere, every TV series from the original Ultra Q all the way up to Ultraman Taiga has seen a release over here, as have most of the movies. They haven't done Ultraman Great or Powered yet, but oh well. Taiga is the most recent drop, having been released in July of 2024, with Ultraman Blazar, the most recent completed show, set to drop in October, and I can't imagine they'll be stopping there. All of these releases can also be streamed on Tubi, except Taiga, which I imagine will make its way there eventually. If you need even more of an Ultraman fix though, then Shin Ultraman, the sick-as-hell reimagining of Ultraman done by Hideaki Anno, is easily available through a few streaming services, though you'll need to actually fork over some cash for it. And Tsuburaya themselves have a YouTube channel where they release the new episodes of the current Ultraman shows every week as they air, with English subtitles. At the time I make this video, Ultraman Arc is currently airing, and new episodes are on said YouTube channel. They've even launched a second channel specifically for the English dubs of these shows, because they're getting dubbed now, and they're apparently pretty good. So if you want to watch Ultraman, you're pretty much set. Now, for our final section, we've got some stragglers that don't really fit into the categories I had before, and one really big, very cool option I wanted to save for last. A couple of years ago, Toei launched the Toei Tokusatsu World YouTube channel, which was supposed to be a sort of repository for a bunch of various tokusatsu shows, with the first 2 episodes of all 70 series it had at launch available with English subtitles. I actually did do a video on this way back when it was first announced, and I was pretty damn excited. Unfortunately, it didn't really turn out to be the blessing it could have been. That initial launch worked out to be pretty much fine. I don't recall there being any huge issues, but now in 2024, it's kind of a bummer. The initial plan was eventually to have a public call for subtitles past the first 2 episodes of shows, presumably added through YouTube's own subtitle feature, where fans would have submitted subs that I imagine would have been reviewed and potentially approved. But YouTube killed the community subtitles feature because it was a thing people actually liked, and they can't have that now, can they? So the call for subtitles never happened, and the shows pretty much stayed unsubbed, and now the channel hasn't seen an upload of any kind in over a year. But I guess it's not all awful. There is a pretty good smattering of shows, and if you speak Japanese, the lack of subtitles isn't a barrier for you. At the end of the day, it is an option, if a suboptimal one. And as a random thing, Discotek announced a Blu-ray for Android Kikaider at the same time they announced Kamen Rider V3, Space Sheriff Scheider, and Rescue Police Winspector, so it looks like they're going to be expanding into even more areas of Toku, which is a very good thing. Now we come to the absolute final thing I'm going to talk about, and it's a big one. I also went over this in the video where I talked about Toei Tokusatsu World, but it's really become a juggernaut since then, and that is Tokusatsu. Tokusatsu launched as a streaming channel on Pluto TV for Shout Factory's Toku releases, at the time basically Sentai and the original Kamen Rider series. It is essentially still that, but it's now expanded beyond Pluto TV and onto YouTube and Twitch, and they've got live streams running 24/7 that feature a bunch of stuff. Like, so much I can't even name all of them at once. If you go to their YouTube channel right now, as you're watching this video, you will likely find upwards of like 15 streams going on at once, all streaming something. It's genuinely kind of insane. Whether it's Godzilla, Kamen Rider, Ultraman, or even the Japanese dub of Alf, yes, they did that one time. Last minute correction from the editing bay. Twice they've done it now. When I recorded this, they'd only done it the one time, but in the time I've been making this video, they've added the Alf Japanese dub a second time. So, there's that for you. It's probably happening on Tokusatsu. No, again, this is not sponsored. This is just crazy and kind of awesome to me. So I'm pretty sure that that's all of the stuff worth mentioning that's happened since the old video 5 years ago, but it really wouldn't surprise me if I missed something. Spoilers, I did. I don't know when this one is happening though. Toku has seen a friggin' explosion in the West since that time, and I really hope it doesn't slow down anytime soon. My number one hope since I started Toku 101 has been for this genre to be readily accessible for people, so that if my videos help, then they can immediately go out and check some of this stuff out. And it looks like that is steadily becoming a reality. So that is going to do it for this video. All of the regular links like my Twitter and a list of music used in this video are in the description. If you enjoyed, consider giving the video a like, it really helps me out. Subscribe if you want to stick around for any future content that I upload. That's going to be it from me. Have a nice day, and I will see you guys next time.